security, no father, no money, no future. That same boy became one of the most powerful voices the world has ever heard. He sold millions of records. He survived 5 bullets. He changed hip-hop forever. But who was the real Tupac Shakur? Today we uncover everything behind the fame. Subscribe now, because the last part will blow your mind. Welcome to Begin. To understand Tupac, you have to understand where he came from. And where he came from was a place most people never escape. June 16, 1971, East Harlem, New York. One of the poorest and most dangerous neighborhoods in America. But here is the part that will shock you. His mother, Kidada Shakur, was sitting inside a prison cell when she gave birth to him. Kidada was not just any woman. She was a powerful Black Panther activist, fighting the American government. She defended herself in court with no lawyer, and won. Tupac entered this world already in the middle of a war. His father, gone. Never in the picture. Just a young boy watching his mother struggle every single day. There were nights with no food on the table. Nights with no heat in the house. Sometimes, no house at all. By the time Tupac was 13, his family had already moved 7 times. 7 cities, 7 schools. 7 fresh starts that never really started. But at 13, he discovered something unexpected. Art. He enrolled at the Baltimore School for the Arts. And this rough kid from the streets started studying ballet, theater, poetry. Yes, you heard that right. The man with Thug Life tattooed across his stomach was once a ballet student. And it was in those school hallways that Tupac met a young girl named Jada Pinkett. Yes, that Jada Pinkett, Will Smith's wife. They became inseparable. Some say it was the start of a magical friendship. But we'll get to that later. Then, his family moved again. This time to Oakland, California, one of the most violent cities in America. The poet was about to become a warrior. Oakland changed everything. In 1990, a 19-year-old Tupac walked into the world of hip-hop. He started as a dancer and roadie for Digital Underground, carrying bags, setting up equipment. Nobody knew his name yet, but Tupac was not built to stay in the background. In 1991, he released his debut album, Tupacalypse Now. Wait, was not ready. The album was raw, real. He rapped about police brutality, about growing up surrounded by violence. But Tupac was not just a rapper. He was an actor, too. In 1992, he starred in Juice, playing Bishop, a cold, ruthless killer. Critics were stunned. This rapper could actually act. Then came Poetic Justice in 1993, starring alongside Janet Jackson. America fell in love with him. Women wanted him. Men respected him. The industry feared him. In just 3 years, a homeless kid from Harlem had become one of the most recognized faces in America. When the money came, Tupac lived like a king. BMWs, Mercedes, luxury mansions, designer jewelry, diamond jewelry, the finest everything. He had the Thug Life tattoo across his stomach, and he lived every word of it. But here is what most people never knew. Behind the tattoos and the gold chains was one of the most intelligent men in hip-hop. Tupac read Shakespeare. He wrote poetry every single day. He studied philosophy. He could quote great thinkers in one breath and rap about street life in the next. He was 2 completely different people. The thug the world saw, and the poet only a few people knew. He loved basketball. He was loyal to his crew. He was funny, genuinely hilarious in real life. Friends say he could light up any room. But privately, he suffered deep depression. He once said in an interview, "I smile, but inside I am always at war." A man at war with himself. And soon, at war with the entire music industry. For all his toughness, Tupac was a deeply romantic man. He loved hard. He felt everything deeply. And the women in his life never forgot him. First, Jada Pinkett. Jada met as teenagers in Baltimore. They were inseparable for years. Jada herself has said publicly, "Tupac was one of my soulmates. Not a boyfriend, a soulmate. The kind of connection that goes beyond romance." Will Smith has admitted their bond was something he could never fully understand. Even after Tupac blurred, Jada never stopped grieving him. Then there was Kidada Jones, daughter of the legendary music producer Quincy Jones. Tupac fell deeply in love with her in 1995. She was with him the night everything fell apart, the night he was shot. She said publicly she never fully recovered from losing him, that the grief never went away. Tupac was known as a ladies' man. He dated some of the most beautiful and famous women of his era. But beneath all of that was a man who desperately wanted real love and struggled to hold on to it. He loved hard, and that love cost him everything. In 1995, Tupac did something nobody expected. He got married. Her name was Keisha Morris, a regular woman, not a celebrity. She loved him before the fame got out of control. But here's the detail that breaks your heart. Tupac married her while he was in prison. She visited him faithfully, stood by him when the whole world had moved on. But the marriage did not survive. In 1996, shortly after his release, the marriage was annulled. Keisha has always spoken about him with respect and love. No bitterness, no anger, just a quiet sadness. The streets and the music consumed him. There was no room for a regular life. This is one of the most asked questions about Tupac. Did he have children? The official answer, no confirmed biological children. But over the years, several women have come forward claiming their children are his. None have ever been officially confirmed. His mother, Afeni, managed his entire estate, until her own death in 2016. She protected his legacy fiercely. Tupac once said, "I want to be remembered as a kid from the block who stood up. He left behind no confirmed children, but he left behind something bigger. Millions of fans around the world who grew up feeling like he spoke directly to them. Those are his children." Fame brought Tupac everything: money, power, love. But it also brought trouble. And for Tupac, music followed him everywhere. In 1993, he was arrested in Atlanta for shooting 2 off-duty police officers. The charges were eventually dropped, but the pattern had begun. Then came the case that changed everything. 1994, a sexual assault accusation. Tupac was found guilty, sentenced to 4.5 years in prison. But before he even went to prison, something happened that shook the entire music world. November 1994, New York City. Tupac walked into a recording studio lobby and was ambushed. Shot 5 times. Chest, arm, thigh, head. He was robbed of his jewelry, left bleeding on the floor. But Tupac Shakur did not die. He survived. And when he woke up, he was a different man. Angrier, more dangerous, more paranoid. He pointed his finger directly at Notorious B.I.G. and Puff Daddy, accused them of setting him up. They denied everything, but the damage was done. The East Coast versus West Coast war had officially begun. Tupac went to Clinton Correctional Facility in 1995, and while he sat in that cell, a man named Suge Knight came with an offer. Death Row Records would pay his bail, $1.4 million. In exchange, Tupac would sign with Death Row. Tupac signed, walked out into prison, and straight into the most explosive chapter of his life. When Tupac joined Death Row Records, something was unleashed. He walked into the studio and did not stop recording. Day and night, week after week. He recorded over 200 songs in less than a year. 200 songs. Many believe he knew his time was running out, like he was racing against something only he could feel. In 1996, he released All Eyes on Me, a double album, one of the greatest rap albums ever made. The world went completely crazy. He performed sold-out shows worldwide.